places. Right? And it happens so many times. And that is why when somebody comes and even wants to be rebaptized, if that person's membership is at a church, you have to advise the person, to advise the church to remove your name from the membership. Because if we do not do that, what happens? The record is duplicated. Now, a few cautions before I tell you the setup of the committee and take some questions. Church letters of transfer are granted only to members who are in regular standing. So if somebody is under discipline, no letter of transfer can be granted. Is that clear? So if you are censored for 6 months or for a year, you cannot give a letter of transfer during the period when that member is under discipline. That period has to expire, and there needs to be revision by the church board. And then that letter can be granted, of course, if everything is well. The membership of a member who is under discipline should not be transferred. The church board does not have the authority to transfer membership. Again, that's the members of the church. The pastor does not have the authority to transfer membership. Membership transfer should not be done without the consent also of the individualship be transferred. Okay? Now, every church should keep a membership record to the ACMS, and Elder French is going every now and again. We know of those. We know where they are, but they're not really coming to church. So we have the regular attending, and then we have the regular non-attending members. And then there are those who have migrated, right? And they may be attending another Seventh-day Adventist church, whether here locally or abroad. We know them, yes? So we can classify those. We need those as well. And then there are the members that nobody knows. We call them the unknown members. Somebody was baptized, but nobody seemed to know who that person was. And by the way, I want to strongly recommend that when we are baptizing persons into the church, we take proper biographical data, including a photograph of the person we are baptizing. And this can be done easily. Once the board finishes the examination, the church clerk could take that person or those persons for baptism in the vestry and take the picture right away. Collect the data right away, because this is important. One of the big problems we are having now is that we don't have some date of births for certain members as we enter them into the system. And Brother French can talk to you about that later on. And then some people still, they don't want to give us their date of birth. Some people who are even in the church and active, etc., etc. So we need to capture this data just before we baptize these persons into the church. Is that okay? We're talking about solution. And then there are members to the rescue. So these are people that you know, and they're out there and they're not attending church, and they're doing perhaps everything that should not be done. Members to the rescue. They are out there, they're not attending church, they don't care about church attendance, etc., etc. So these are the 5 areas that Pastor Williams wrote to you about that we need to classify the members on our books. Is that clear, everybody? Now, this is where we need to go. So the membership, the first step, well, second to prayer, after we pray and present to God what we intend to do, we need to form that committee, the Membership Audit Committee. And the audit committee consists of 4 to 6 members who have been selected by the church board. Okay? 4 to 6 members who have been selected by the church board. This should include the pastor. Well, the pastor is not selected, he's ex officio, he's a leader of the board. So the pastor is a member. But then we have the elder. One elder needs to be on this membership audit committee. The church clerk must be on it, one of the church clerks, the treasurer, and 2 to 3 other members. And when you're putting on other members, we recommend that you look for different demographics. So you want somebody who has been in the church for a long, long time. Okay? And I know we have these people scattered across our churches. Somebody who would have seen people coming in and people going and would have known about many, particularly of the older members. You need people from different age range. It's important, yeah, so that they can help with locating, if possible, these names and these members who are missing. And this becomes the team that will do, first of all, the classification of the members in the 5 areas that I just showed you. And having been appointed, this team now will prayerfully get all of the record books and come together on a Sunday or whichever time you designate and begin to work. And if you need help, I am available. We are available from Secretariat to help you. So you can tell us of your itinerary. We will visit your district. So if we can come to Morant Bay and we have the 4 churches come down on a Sunday and we decide that we're going to do membership classification today. And we go to Hampton Court and we do the same, because that's why we are here. I am deliberate about getting the audit done, and you have to be deliberate about getting it done. And if we only talk, it won't work. We have to do something. And that is where, by the grace of God, I want us to go relative to this membership audit. I think I can stop here. I've given you the basic information. So now I expect you to go to your church boards and look at this committee so that the committee can begin to work. And we will provide guidance. We will not leave you alone. So we're not disfellowshipping anybody or doing anything like that. That's not what we're doing. We are classifying the membership in these areas. That is what we are doing now. Good. That's it from me. I think I'm going to stop here as I take some questions. I see Elder Rodney and I see Sister Beckford.
Is there a time limit for this to be done? Bear in mind that it was intentionally a long time.
See.
Why I keep asking signature urges, Pastor, is that, again, I want to understand very carefully. Adventists are good planners. Executioners, problem. So if we just say, go and do it, and do a timeline, next 24 years will still be at the same point.
Yes, I agree. And there was a timeline given, and we will give you a timeline. We will give you a timeline. But I'm just saying we are now apprising the church at this level, in this meeting, of what needs to be done. So when we go back to office now, we can write some things to you and say, this is what we are asking you to assist us with. But seeing that we have the first elders here and other elders and church clerks, you know of the urgency, and the pastors are here as well. You know of the urgency of the matter, and so we are asking you to help us with it ASAP. President.
Thank you. I'm happy you asked the question. And what the secretary said is true. And I'd add some comment, Secretary of the Union. It was to be done before 2019.
So our shut-ins come under classification 2, number 2. Pastor. Yes.
Good morning. My name is Marcia Spence and I'm from Albion. I have 2 questions and 2 personal experiences. First of all, I want to ask if this presentation will be available to us, because I believe for this membership audit we need to also sensitize the members of what is happening, because I think that will also allow them to be more cooperative as we go through this initiative. My second question, is there a definite distinction between number 1 and 2? I'm seeing where persons I have in my mind who is a regular non-attending.
Yes.
That definition might differ.
Yes.
So is...
Yes. So, all right, so let's be clear about number 2 as opposed to number 1. So Sister Beckford just asked a question. It's the same question you're asking. So for our home members, those who cannot attend, those who might be sick and can barely come once a quarter or so, we would classify them in under number 2, regular, non-attending. But we know that they are not well, and so they can't attend as they would love to attend.
I'm not speaking to those. I'm talking to persons who can attend. I've had experiences where you have persons who can attend church, and I might be saying, no, the person can only come once for the month. That's not a regular attending. While another person said, no, but they come one time. I've seen them last month. And they would consider that person to be regular non-attending. So what I'm asking, is there a definition from the conference so that when we go into our committees, we know exactly who is who? All right. My personal experience is no. As a
Pastor,
clerk,
you want to answer that one first?
Yes, of course. Oh. So yes, there is a definition for number 2, as we said. So we want you to put it clear that number 2 relates to those very members. And I think that was also stated in the letter that was sent out. So we want to make it very clear. So those people who we don't know them to be so on and so forth, they are home, they are sick, they are shut-ins, etc., etc. Yeah. So we just want that to be clear.
Right, definitely
for number 2.
Right.
Yes.
And that includes like persons in essential services.
Yes.
Who are regular, that means their membership is intact, they are faithful, they are reporting, but based on their job, they are not able
really attend.
Physically to attend, but they are regular. You know that term regular? We used to have regular, good and regular. You remember that? Regular. So that means those persons are intact, but physically they are not attending.
They're regular, but they're not attending as regularly. Thank you, President. So that's clear, Sister Smith.
Yes, Spence.
Spence.
I just want to also point out that as a clerk, we have a difficulty. For example, you have persons coming into the church and they are using pet names and aliases. So they are not giving their correct names. So I do not know if we have to start asking for birth papers. I don't know. And then also we have instances where the baptisms are done in a rush. The clerks are not aware. So for me personally, I've had situations where I'm not at church and I'm hearing that there's a baptism. And I need to get certain information because I hear you speaking of taking photographs and all of that. So if we are expected to do this, the clerks must be aware, not the day before. Clerks have places to go to. Like a week or two before that, on that day, we are going to have a baptism. So we can plan our schedule. If we have somewhere to go and visit, we can stay at church. So I think persons need to be mindful of that. And when the Bible workers, my point before, need to ensure that the persons give their real name. I have a situation where persons are to be buried and they come to ask for John Brown. There's no John Brown. I see a James Brown or another name, but not a John Brown, because John Brown came and he used his pet name or his alias. So how are we going to navigate these situations?
Thank you. And thank you very much. We got your questions and we got your comments. And we have to be deliberate about what we do. And everybody has to be a part of the process. So we expect that all of us will try our best to do what we should, yeah? But if you're not at church, I'm sure one of your assistants can do the work, or one of the elders can get the info. So we're not saying that the church clerk needs to be at church, because the church happens, it goes on, and if you're not there, I'm not sure that they will stop all of these until you are there. But let's work together as we go along. Questions? Let me see the hands of those who would like to speak. Let's take these. All right. Let's begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7. Wow.
Good morning.
Please make your question quickly.
Yes, good morning. For the persons who are living abroad and they still contribute to the church, send the offering, contributions and all of that, where would we put them?
Those attending another SDA congregation?
Yes, in a sense, yes.
Yes. That's a classification as well.
And then you have members who left the congregation, migrated, but did not tell the church, inform the church that, you know what they call it? They get their citizenship, their green card, but they left and they did not say anything to the church. Maybe they didn't want the church to know about them leaving. What concern should we give to these persons, because they did not want you to know that they were leaving?
Well, that is why we're having the classification, because the committee members now would need to sit down and analyze each name to see what is the status of this person or that person. So that is exactly why we need the committee, so that the persons can be classified based on what is happening.
Yes, my next question is, in terms of taking photographs, are you suggesting that the church would make some investment in purchasing those equipments so that we can take photographs, or would you be giving us grants so we can purchase equipment so that we can do all of this?
At Meadowvale, where I was most recent, the church clerk takes a photograph with her phone. Huh? It would what? Yeah, but I'm just saying, work out that matter at our local level as to exactly what happens. But I'm just saying, we need to find a way to take... Well, let's work that out, eh? At the local level. Sorry? Okay, thank you for the suggestion. Appreciate it. Grateful, thank you. Hello.
Good morning. Yes, it's very... the experiences I've had with persons are very suspicious about what it is that we need to audit the membership for, and when they look at the national or the international implication. People are very timid to give their full this thing.
Because the members look around and they see that the number of persons coming to church does not match with the amount that is asked, and that poses a problem. So I'm just saying that it is very important that we straighten this part of it. The other part, you spoke about the church manual. And we know that that's the tool that is used for church governance.
Yes.
But I was recently told that the proof for fornication is pregnancy. And I've been searching the manual and I can't find it. So I don't know if there's a new edition.
Well, that is another that's for another occasion, Elder Livingston. But if I take that up, I don't think I can take that, Mr. President. But thank you for your suggestions. And yes, the church manual is a tool, Elder Beckford, for governance, for church governance. Thank you. We pass here, and it's your time now. And then Sister Beverly, and then Pastor. Just a moment, please, until the mic comes, because the program is being recorded.
My concern is number 5, because you mentioned that to rescue a person who is out there doing any and everything, must the church accept that person if that person is out there doing any and everything and just take back the person as that?
Remember now, we are classifying our membership at this stage.
Yes, but I want to know how to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, remember, Sister Beverly, just let me explain. There's a process. There's a process. You know, when you have a roll call, after that, what happens? You have to post the names on the notice board, and we give a period for search and rescue and that kind of thing to be done, so we can really ascertain the true state of these members. So we're not asking you now to go out there and either sever them or take them back. We're just asking you based on what you know at this stage of the audit, to classify them.
I understand you quite well, but I'm having challenges with that because persons believe that is one baptism, and they would out there for years doing any and everything, and now they are ready to come back. How we
there, but I'm saying at this stage, that is not the concern. The concern is to classify. So if there are members who are known to need rescue, we just classify them at this stage. So we're not asking you to take them back or not take them back.
I understand. The next thing you mentioned that we must teach everybody the fundamentals before baptism, before they take the vows and all of that. But what about when we have like crusade and so forth, and persons just in the congregation hearing the message and just jump up and want to get baptized tonight or whatever? How do you go about that?
You see, there's still a process, you know, Sister Beverly. There's still a process. We still have to take those we baptize through a process, right? Whether they are coming swiftly or we're working with them for a long time, there's still a process of examination and preparation that we should take our candidates through, and we are still sticking to that. As according to our church manual, that is how we still operate. Yeah? Thank you. Pastor?
All right, good morning, everyone. Seeing that the objective of the membership audit is to have a more accurate reflection of the membership of the church, for persons who are overseas and they would maybe they would have been visiting other church for more than 6 months, but they are faithfully supporting the local church. Should these persons be encouraged to request their membership?
Well, the manual is clear, you know, once you move to a locality for more than 6 months, move away from your local church, you should be encouraged to take your membership to the church that is closest to you. The manual is very clear as it relates to that. The president said to take your membership, but still support us financially. Thank you, thank you. I think we can wrap up here now. After Sister Mildred Thompson, we will.
Thank you, Pastor. I'll take us back a little, where you mentioned about regular standing, membership transfer, and regular standing. My question is, if a person's name has never been recorded in the treasurer's book, should that person be considered regular standing in the church? That is membership transfer that was mentioned earlier on. Membership transfer in regular standing. And that person has never returned tithe to the church. Is that person, tithe or offering, thanks. Is that person considered regular standing? Question.
Well, it depends on, you see, we have to, and that is why, Sister Thompson, we have to do the work of shepherding the members. We cannot wait. It's like, you know, some of us, we wait until nominating committee to begin to point out who not returning tithe and offering, etc., etc. When really and truly, that is not the time we should be so concerned about that. It's our overall shepherding of the flock through and through. So the idea is, if we have those people on our books, we need to nurture them, we need to minister to them, we need to shepherd them so that when that time comes, we don't have any issue. Because a part of, all right, that is what I suggest right now. Because you can't have somebody coming all along and then when it comes to time for something to happen, you tell them, oh, you're not regular because you're not returning tithes and offering. We have a responsibility to those members who are not faithful to get them to the point where the Lord would be pleased about their stewardship.
All right. Education is important also because sometimes a person's name doesn't appear on the books in relation to tithe and offering. And in some cases, those persons return their tithe and offering to the conference. Conference has a record. And some of them also just put their offering. Some might not be working. Education is very important.
Very importantly. Yes, the president was saying education is important because as we notice, people don't always return tithes and offerings at the local church. Sometimes they return it directly to the conference or some other place. So we have to also watch that as we educate the membership. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your questions, your feedback, and we hope by the grace of God that we can get these committees formed and working before long. Okay, we're going to, the time is far spent. We're going to move right now into our second presentation, which of course will be done by our conference president on the importance of statistical report to the wider organization. This is critical as our report for this quarter is coming up, so this is so very important at this time. Pastor Dr. Merrick Walker, our leader, our president, one who has taken the mantle, and he's leading well in the cause of God in East Jamaica. Delighted to be working with him, delighted today to present him to you for this very critical presentation. Without further ado now, our conference president, the importance of statistical reports to the wider organization.
And 4 organized companies. And East Jamaica Conference. No, I don't want to expose the other conferences, you know. But East Jamaica Conference, Pastor Francis, maybe, in a while. Okay. All right. Wonderful. On my screen. All right. So, listen now. You have a remote. I could go back. Well, now you expose the people's business. All right. The truth is that Central Jamaica Conference is reporting, and this is not on internet or anywhere. This is not streamed. No? Yes? It is recorded, but this is all right. All I want to tell you is that East Jamaica Conference, I think we're good. Yes. It has disappeared. Maybe. All right. You were a magic man. Where's the thing? All right. Give us a minute. Give us. All right. Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. We could get it there. Yes, just put that. I'm good. You have taught me something, Triton. All right. This is where we're at. And I am going to try and move on, not to expose the people's business. Our East Jamaica Conference, this is a report for last year, is only reporting only 52 of the 96 churches have been reporting consistently. And hence, our report in East Jamaica Conference is just about 50%. 50%. So the General Conference is not getting over 46% of reports from East Jamaica Conference. All right. And East Jamaica Conference is the best reporting conference in Jamaica Union. Follow me. So you see the predicament the union has in relation to reporting. Because if we are the gold medalist and it's 50%, can you imagine if you get 50% of your dinner this evening? And if when you go home, your wife or your husband cut the bed and just say 50%, well, you might say, I've been sleeping on 50% already. But can you imagine, Sister Sophia, 50%? Huh? If every day you get your lunch, from now, it's 50%. And you're sending out your children to school and you give them 50%. You know the problem, they need books and you only give them 50%. They're supposed to go to school and they can only go half the time. So this is the reality. That's the first point I am making. So let me back up and just share with you why we need to report. Why do we need accurate records? One, for the spirit of the organization. The spirit of the organization. We deal with accuracy. If we take off one, we're in problem. And they will take off the Sabbath, or they'll take off adultery, and they'll take 100%. So the spirit of the organization is accuracy. Number two, help members identify their place in the whole of the church. Right? So when you have the data for the members and you look at the different demographies and the talents as we are entering now in ACMS to an extent, members will know their place. And by that now, if you have 21 million members in the world, right? And you have 1,000 members at the Morant Bay Church, you know that if you did not exist, it would not be 21 million members in the world church, right? It would be 21 million less 1,000. So you know your place or you fit into the big puzzle. And also, not just the membership, but the numbers of churches. So you know that the East Jamaica Conference, when you look at the stats of the GC, we have of those churches and institutions X amount. So we know where we fall in that. For making future plans. So when you report every quarter, we know that this information goes right up, enter into the program called Jordan, which is seen by the General Conference, and hence decisions are made that would affect the World Church based on its population growth and mission orientation and priorities. For relations with government, that is important. So the government say, okay, you have X amount of members, and we go to government and we are negotiating. There are some critical things happening in the country, and we are negotiating, and we say, well, we have 300,000 members. The number speaks, and we want that, and we prefer that. So number speaks. For constituency meeting reports, so that we can encourage each other and we know what is happening. In the early days, you know, when we, over here in St. Thomas, and like, I think Pastor Cottrell was at Yallas, and we used to talk to say how things going on, you know, how many, whatever, and encourage each other. So, and constituency meeting is a great thing when you know that you have reached your goals. For sermons and presentations, all right. to show where members, workers, churches, institutions are located, to show what the membership workers are doing to spread the gospel. All of that is in the report. To preserve church history at any time in its history, to know how many members, churches, institutions are here or are there. So we are able now to look back at the church and say, in 2005, where were we? In 2022, are we at the same place? And so you don't comfort yourself to say, well, okay, the church exists, so everything is okay. Because the church is an organization, and it must be growing. So reports are important. To show where there is growth, decline, or stagnation, to give context to other historical facts and events, to facilitate a knowledge of trend and what actions may be taken in relation to such trends. So this is important. The next thing I want to show you is this. This is the report that we do quarterly. So when you send up your report, what happens? The conference secretary takes each report, collates, and he sends those reports to the Jamaica Union. So Jamaica Union showing here that it has 704 churches, 30 companies, the membership. You see, this is a current thing. So if you did not report in this for last quarter, then we are more than this. And this will be given a wrong reading because you did not report. 332 members, 634. Former baptisms, right? We are to report when someone was baptized before, not just. So we are able now to separate the data. Baptism, 2,538. Oh. Okay. Maybe that needed to be riveted. But you don't necessarily have to see this. But if you can assist, that's fine. So the report is sent to the union. The union looks at put all the reports from the conferences together. And this is sent up to the general conference. And once it goes in, I don't see it Triton, once it goes into this, it is seen by the world. All right. So, let's see. All right. Okay. All right, I am sorry for that. The essence of what I'm saying here, as you have seen, is that the church is connected by reports. And we are appealing to you to give an accurate, on-time report so that as the General Conference makes decisions and as we make decisions locally, as we look at mission and the stats, including the demography, the location, etc. All of this will help us to be more accurate and relevant. That's it. In our projection as we seek to do mission in East. Report on business meeting, baptism, change of name, whether or not you're having the ordinances, etc., etc. And that is important because the church should not be left behind. And I also showed you, I wanted so to do, the union format, including all the conferences juxtaposed beside each other. You see who is out and who is in, the lines that are filled out and the lines that are in. And hence, it is saying that we are all interconnected. And our report right now is at, last time, 54%. So it means that over just about 50 churches, 104, 101, so almost 50 of you are not reporting consistently. So our report at the union is out because yours is not in it. And I just want to appeal to you, let us go for gold and not for bronze. I will take any quick question or comments, but it would be something achieved today if elders and pastors leave here with the determination that my church will not be out. And even if I have to ask for help from the conference, that my report will not be out. And how proud and appreciative Pastor Francis would be that in the first quarter of his leadership, you have 100. Pastor, how do you feel, man? Can you imagine? 100%. So I am appealing to you, and we are open now for some comments, questions.
Question, Pastor. Well, I was a church clerk many, many years ago. So maybe things have changed because I have not looked at the church clerk record. But what I want to know, if there's a template now for church clerk, because I look at the percentage of reporting and non-reporting, it's cause for concern, really. So I'm wondering if there's a template that would make it easier for church clerk to just fill in.
All right, and by template you mean that it is electronic?
Yes, electronic.
All right, it's a good question, and yes, there's a template, and I know the decision from the Secretariat now is to resend this in a soft copy, not just in Excel, but in Word, so that you can respond. And I think that is going to solve many of the problems, because it's not that you don't have a report, but it is the means through which you report. So Pastor Francis, Secretariat, are going to send out again. By the way, let me see the hands of those who have been receiving the Excel. Because I don't suppose you just report hard copy. Those who have been doing electronic reporting. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. 4. So, all right. So you see, this is something we have to work on. If there's a problem in reporting, please let us know. Right? The template is in hard copy. You can go and download it from the site, right, and fill it out and send it in with your pastor or whomsoever. And now you know that you can fill it out online and send it back online. And we want to encourage that, because I would be so happy if we could get the report up each conference would have a big smiling face, encouraging the other conference to come along because we are going for gold. You see, there has to be a certain pride in a brethren. Talk to me, man. Let me get out now. There has to be a certain pride, man, that we are not the tail, we are the head. I know everybody is the head. But let us have that pride that we are going for it, man. We are going to report. And Pastor, if you get this report, I tell the church to give you a month vacation. No, I don't say I'm going to make the church, you know. I said, I will tell the church, you know. So listen, St. Thomas, what I saw yesterday, what I feel yesterday, you can do it, man. I believe in St. Thomas, you know. I began right here in I believe in St. Thomas. Paul Bogle, countryman. Let us do it and let us show Kingston and St. Andrew that you are the head man. Come on, St. Thomas. Rise up, man, and get the report in. Electronically or in hard copy. Please, let Pastor Francis, come on, man. Pastor Francis is own leader in St. Thomas. St. Thomas can't let him down, man. What do you say, Brother Rodney? Elders must be involved. Pastors must be involved. Let us get it done, man. For God. And Pastor Francis and I and others, we will feel good about it. Please. So when the 5th of October comes, we want all the churches in St. Thomas. Pastor Richardson? Pastor? Okay. To be on time, in line, and accurate. Praise the Lord. Pastor Francis, I declare it done for you. Just as how we declare Lamy a graduate in 4 years, I declare St. Thomas fully reporting for the month of October. I am done. All right.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. President. Well done. Appreciate this. All right. Brother Friends is up and about and ready to go. I'm looking for him, and I'm not seeing him currently, but I know that he should be someplace around. But yes, let us take a little break. 5 minutes and we should be back. But just take a little break, saints, and refresh yourselves. Okay. Let me invite you to join us again as we now present our next presenter. All right, so our presenter is Brother Leon French. He's IT manager for East Jamaica Conference. Very committed and dedicated. And is one of our dedicated workers relative to the ACMS, which you will see in a few moments. He did training, and ever since he's one of our main trainers in Jamaica. And we are so thankful for Brother Leon and for his commitment to this work and for his availability, always up and about. And we are really, really grateful to him, and we thank God for his place here at East Jamaica. Well, without further ado, I present to you Brother Leon French, who will take us through our ACMS training. Please make him feel welcome.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. All right, for persons who are at the back, if you could just come a little closer so you could see the screen as far as possible, that will be in all of our best interests. Thank you, Pastor, and thank you, Morant, for welcoming us. I notice every time I drive on the roads to come down here, there's a lot of changes. We are thankful for the development nonetheless. When we first came to visit the area for camp, there were far less smooth roads than they are now. But I can only imagine the struggle. But we look forward to greater days. And of course, those days when we shall walk on streets of gold, not here in Jamaica, but overseas. Amen? This afternoon, we're talking about the ACMS. Let me see the hands of those who have never heard of the ACMS. This is your first time. I'm seeing enough hands. Wow. Let me see the hands of those who have used the ACMS before. You have used it. And I'm seeing a few hands. All right. So for this session then, most of us are seeing or hearing of it for the first time, and others are going to refamiliarize themselves with it. Well, let me get going. ACMS stands for Adventist Church Management System, not membership. That's what the M there. Management, not membership. And that's simply because we are also managing those persons who are not yet members. Yeah? Your Sabbath school class may have persons who visit regularly, but they are not members. And we heard about that in some of the classifications earlier. Those persons who come to your Sabbath school every Sabbath, they are not yet baptized. The ACMS has a place for persons like those. They are called interest. There's an interest to get that person baptized. So that person, it will be classified in the system as interest. I also heard a member ask a question about alias. That member is here? The church clerk who asked about alias? Well, we will go to it. No, let me just say this. For the church clerks that are in the WhatsApp group, can you just raise your hands, please? Church groups, you're in the WhatsApp group? The church clerks who are not in the WhatsApp group now. All right, so everybody needs to get in the WhatsApp group. Everybody, all right? So Pastor, they are collecting your data around the back, and we'll ensure that you're all added to the WhatsApp group, because in that group is a form that will be reposted for you to send me some simple information. I need your name and your email address, and we will get you activated on ACMS. Right? So we'll be doing an overview so you have an idea of what it looks like. And Pastor will tell you about other training where we'll go in greater detail. So the first thing what the ACMS does, it replaces the church records, the physical book. It digitizes that. We saw what happened with COVID, an unprecedented event that causes church to close, at least some or most. We saw things happening where everybody now invested in cameras and everything going digital. And we saw the privilege. We see also the teeth and pain of it, but we see the privilege of going online. One of the reasons why we want to go online is to quickly speed up the process and accurately correct the data for our church members. We've been talking about that, auditing and how we go about doing it. And this software will allow you to do that very easily. So the very first thing we want to talk about is our church record, that physical book. If that book is left here at the church, and church clerk, you're at home and you receive a phone call asking to confirm the membership as to when someone got baptized, most times we're not able to give any information until we go back to church on Sabbath. And some of us church clerks are so busy that on Sabbath we forget to check on that member because we're busy working actively on that Sabbath. And then we go back to work and somebody call you again and say, you get the information and say, oh geez, I forget. And then you have to go back the following Sabbath or try to go a Sunday night or a Wednesday night to get the data. That's because it's in a physical book, and that book is stored where? At the church. At least for the most part, that's where it should be. And so this system allows you to connect electronically to your database anywhere in the world once you have access to Wi-Fi. It is, don't worry about the data protection and the data safety. All of that part is properly taken care of. The data here is secure. The data here is protected. And you ask the question, can it be hacked? Yes. Everything can be hacked. So ignore that. Nothing is hack-proof. Is that clear? The banks are hacked all the time. FBI get hacked. So don't make nobody say, oh, it can't get hacked. Everything can get hacked. But enough protection has gone in this to ensure that the data is safe and protected and redundancies are in place should the data get lost. Let's get over the technicalities and get straight to what it looks like. When you log in, it looks like this. You see, and let me just go straight to the screen, a little closer to the screen. You will see your main page. And there are 6 menu options at the top: home, member, church, department, tools, and reports. In reports, and we won't go into details of it, but in reports are some critical area church clerk. All the reports that you need to send to Jamaica Union, to East Jamaica Conference, all the reports you could possibly want to send, the system can send it for you. So all the forms that you have to fill out, the Excel forms that you have to fill out, no. When the system is properly populated, you can do all of that through the reports here. But for now, we're going to focus on member. So you want to add a member to the ACMS system. It is very simple. You go to your home page and you click on member. You want to add a member, and the first thing it says there is search new to add a member. Can anyone explain to me why I'm adding a member but the system wants to search first? And I hear everybody shout the right answer. We want to ensure that the person is not there already. We want to avoid duplication. That is correct. Because Leon French has been a Seventh-day Adventist member for all his life, all 35 years. However, maybe at a point in Leon French's life, he left the church. My membership is at the Penwood Church. And I left Penwood at age 25. 6 years after, Pastor Richardson conducting a crusade, and I got baptized. I stopped the church. I left Kingston. I come to St. Thomas, got rebaptized in Pastor Richardson church. Pastor Richardson did not know that I was once a member. I hate Penwood. I not to tell nobody to go Penwood. I just get back the word and I'm rebaptized. And Pastor Richardson now come add me to Morant Bay. And the church gladly add me to the roll. And so my name is on the books at Morant Bay. And guess what? My name is still on the books at Penwood. Because the church there did not do a what? What did they not do? An audit. Thank you. We want to get to that. No audit was conducted. And we're not blaming anybody because we're, and that is why we're doing it. No audit was done. And so no one went and physically searched for me and find out where Leon French is to discover that he's no longer a member, so he could be dropped. And therefore, my membership is now at Penwood, my membership is at Morant Bay, and then I pick up myself and run go foreign. And where's my membership now? Foreign. So my membership is at Penwood, Morant Bay, and foreign. And so I'm in the system 3 times. The ACMS seek to reduce that. So the first thing it does is to search for a member. So we're going to go through the process to add a member to the system. And we want to assume that the member is Leon French right now. So we type in Leon French. Leonffrench. Enter. Remember, we want to add a member. Oh, let me just do that again. Sorry? All right, so I want to add Leon, but the system searches. And it brings up 3 results. It is seeing 3 names close. The first name is Lyneth French, F-F-R-E-N-C-H. It said that seems close, so it brings it up. So that's not me. Then the next name is Luna Melissa Leon Nee French. That's not me. But then it brings up Nee French, meaning this person is married, right? But here, Leon French, it brings up a Leon French. So the church clerk at Morant Bay, who went to enter Leon French, type his name, press search. It brings up that there's a Leon French, born September 29. His mother's name is Yvonne, so it gives the first name. And it says the person goes to Penwood. So the first thing it does is to bring up that. And so the church clerk will say, by the way, Mr. French, she can just ask any one of these questions. Were you a member of the Seventh-day Adventist Church before? Oh, yes, I used to go to Penwood, you know. Instant confirmation. I'm not sure. I used to go one church. Is it Penwood? Is your mother named Yvonne? Yes, so you know. You're in our system. Okay. So the church clerk now have another duty. She needs to go contact, he or she needs to contact Penwood, drop the member, and we'll fix all of that. We won't go into that part of it. We should know that works in the church manual. But Leon French would need to be dropped at Penwood for his membership to be added at Morant Bay. All right. So that's in the case that you're adding a member who is already in the system. Let's now add a member who has never been in the system. So we are adding a member. We're going to have to make up a name, and so I'm going to call this person. And I can't use John Brown. John Brown is in the system 1,000 times. Real name, by the way, is in the system. So we're going to make up a name, and I like to call this person Marco. That's one of our characters on Virtual Church. And Marco will be there. But let's call this person Marco Warren. All right? Again, we're adding a person. We'll click search first. And there it is. And Marco Warren came up. Born September 11. And he attends some church called El Mani. Now, Marco is a Spanish name, right? So El Mani is probably a Spanish church somewhere. But that's not my Marco. So I then click on that green button for persons who can see it. What does it say? Not found. You see the green button right there? Not found. So as a church clerk, when I wanted to add Marco and I search, I did not find him. Is that clear? So I click not found. When I click not found, it then opens a large sheet of, it's asking a whole heap of questions. And we're going to go through it and real fast, and you'll see why it's asking all these questions. So, the very first thing we want to look at is ceremony. And for persons who are taking notes, I will try to repeat to ensure that you are able to do so. How are members added to the Seventh-day Adventist Church? All my bright church clerks should know this. How are members added to the Seventh-day Adventist Church? Number 1, baptism, transfer, profession of faith. That's it. 3, rebaptism, you re-add them. Got that? But to be added, it must be baptism, profession of faith, and transfer. So, Marco was baptized. And so the ceremony that we're going to select right here is baptism. When we select baptism, more information come up. And so let me get closer to it. So we walk through each thing one at a time. Is there a techno-savvy person here who can assist me at the computer while I stay here? All right, thank you. All right, so the first thing we select is baptism. The next thing it asks is the date. And it also asks here, ceremony, baptism date. Now you ask yourself, why it asking me for 2 dates? In some churches, in most of our churches in Jamaica, the church board meets and accepts or make the recommendation for the person to be baptized the same day they baptize, yes? In some churches around the world, it is not so. And so because the system was created for worldwide use, it is modified for everyone. And so we just have to put in the information according to our use. So in this case, we put the same dates. So if a person is to be baptized today, the 1st of September, Sabbath the 1st of September, the church board probably would have met the same day for the recommendation. However, the church board could have met on the Wednesday night. And the person said, I don't want to get baptized in the pool. I want to get baptized by the river Sabbath morning. You see the point we're making? So this date represents the church board's date. The 1st, Wednesday night, September 1st. And then September 4th, the Sabbath, is the day they get baptized. However, if everything is the same day, just put that. No worries. It then asks you for minute number and special minute number. Minute mean your minutes. When the church board met for the recommendation, the church clerk should have been there, and the church clerk would have collected minutes, correct? What is your minute number? How do you organize your minutes? Not a trick question. If you have not been doing so, technically you probably have been doing it and you weren't aware. Your minute number is the date when the minute was done. Get that? The date when the meeting was done, not the minute. Because the minute could have been done a day or 3 days after. So for your minute number and for you, for your records, to keep your minutes organized, the date that the number that you use for your minute number is the date the meeting was held. So if the meeting was held on the 1st of September 2022, your minute number is 01 for the 1st, 09 for the 9th September, 2022. That's your minute number. So you don't have to go try create a new system in your head, how am I going to organize my minute. Your minute number is a date. The date. That's it. So, in most cases, this date, and this date will be the same. Everybody following? Because everything happened on the same day. Special minute, and let me explain what that is. Because that really happens, but it do happen, and it's important when it happens. Leon French is to be baptized. However, half of the congregation, knows that Leon French live over there, so, and he live with his girlfriend. Man and woman affair. We all know the nighttime part go. Him to get baptized, and his name is read, and half of the congregation said, but how you not going to baptize the man and minister them and get married? What go on? However, pastor and some delegation would have met with him. An arrangement was made. The young lady is to be baptized a few days after, a few weeks after. Yeah, maybe it's her time of the month, just to give me some time. And marriage is to be kept, is to be held. That discussion was had outside of this meeting. Because when you had the first meeting and it was approved, some other members take pastor aside and accost him and say, how you are baptized one day? Because such and such. And pastor had a special meeting. It happens in some churches, even here in Jamaica. And he would have had a special discussion, and the church clerk would have said, the following day we met, this was raised, this was discussed, problem solved. You want to log your minutes because somebody else may pick up the discussion 2 weeks after when I'm ready for received in the church, I say, Pastor, I'm not understand if I baptize. And the church clerk can come and say, no, see there, we had a discussion about it. Yes, sir? Or we had another discussion about it. Everybody clear? So in most cases, brethren, all four will be the same date. But in your unique cases, you determine what date you may want to put in according to your circumstances. Is that very clear? Awesome. Let us quickly move. Because this line now becomes easier. The place where the person was baptized will remain the same. As the church clerk, you will only have access to your church. So because I am the church clerk demonstrating, I have access to Penwood Seventh-day Adventist. So the place, you can't change it. Once you are the church clerk, add a member, you got to add him to your church. Good. Pastor, soon. Let me get to this because I figure I'm going to get some questions. Let me just get to this one. Pastor, Oh, thank you, yes, thank you. Pastor Richards, we're going to see you together and I'm not going to forget my name. Pastor Richards, the pastor for the Morant Bay Church. Invite Pastor, remember my name? Pastor Blake for conduct a crusade. No, let's not use Pastor Blake. Let's not use Pastor Blake. Huh? No, I don't want to use that L. I want to make a point, that's why. Jeffrey, no. Pastor White. Let's use Pastor White for now. So Pastor Richardson is the pastor for the Morant Bay. Pastor White is the pastor for the Whitehall Church. Everybody follow? Whitehall, Richardson, Morant Bay. Pastor Richardson invite Pastor White for conduct a crusade. Pastor White baptized 50 person. Who baptized the person according to the ACMS? All right, so I hear it splitting up. The answer according to ACMS is Pastor Richardson. As the church clerk, your only pastor is your district pastor, your church pastor. He is the baptizer, but the person who will be nurturing is the pastor. Therefore, baptized by is your local pastor. Where does pastor right comes in? First, Bible instructor. The Bible worker who actually go to the person's house and baptize them. Where do they come in? Second, Bible instructor. Is that clear? Yeah. That's how it works. So the pastor of the local church is the pastor who baptized them. He was the one who organized the campaign, set up everything, work on everything. He's probably the person who has been working with the member for years or weeks or months or regardless. But it's his church they come in, baptized by. So if Pastor Richardson organize the crusade, Pastor Wright baptized, and the person then go to Pastor Blake Church, which is Bath, then baptize his pastor. But it's Bath, you understand? Wherever the person go for their membership, that's who baptized them. That's how the system works. But there's a space for who actually do the immersion, the preaching, or the Bible work, and you work with that accordingly. Is that clear? Yes. That's how the church manual is set up. So the system is set up exactly how the church manual is. All right. Your question, Pastor?
It has to do with the special meeting. Where the church clerk, I'm just looking in the context where the member in question, the person to be baptized, or the candidate in question, would have met before as a board, but then arise questions, and then the board would have set up a committee. What if the church clerk is not a part of that committee for investigation? How would you record that based on that?
Well, here's the thing. If the church clerk is not a part of this committee, then that's a problem, because the truth is the church clerk should be a part of all committees. Right, Pastor Melvin, Pastor Francis? The church, or at least there must be a recording clerk. And guess what? And then that information will go back to the church clerk. Therefore, it's highly recommended that the church clerk be that person. I hear a sister say it can't be everywhere, and that's true. So it must have a recording clerk with the responsibility to give the information to the church clerk. Thank you, Pastor. So we're clear up here, sir, right? We're clear. And once you get into the system, you realize it will come back to you. personal data, it wants your first name, last name. Now, you realize it's already populated here because this is the name that we typed in when we were adding the person. So the Marco and Warren is already there, and the full name will spell out. It asks for gender. Now, select gender for me, please, because I want persons, when they start using the system, they will see male, female, and unstated. Let me make this absolutely clear, folks. The Seventh Adventist Church only believes in male and female. However, because the system was designed to take bulk data, when we were collecting those bulk data, some person did not state if they were male or female. And for a person who understands database, if there's a piece of data that is out, the system will not accept the data. And so we had to put unstated for persons who did not say if they're male or females. Because there are some names like Coral, that is a unisex name, Terry, Jerry, and a couple other names that both male and female using. So when we see a Coral, we won't automatically assume it's a female because there are males with those names as well. And so for a situation like that, the system allows. But at no time should a church clerk be entering data and select unstated. We ought to know male or female who God created. So you're going to select, or you selected male. Date of birth. Come right here for me, because see the challenge here now. A lot of persons don't want to give their date of birth, and I was going to say that is fine, but it creates a problem, because if we can't age our membership, then we're in trouble. If Pastor Melvin Francis wants to know what is the age group of members at the Morant Bay Church, and he goes there and he can't tell, then it creates a problem, right? He may want to come down here with a retirement plan program. He may want to come down here with an MBA or a bachelor's program or offering or anything like that. But you don't know the age membership, so you don't know what to come with. So you have to come and ask a local pastor. It's so good when you have it all here to just quickly look and say, well, I can say that 50% of the membership in St. Thomas is under this age group and 10% is at this church and we're able to work. So it's good to have that. But when we don't have it, church clerks, we enter the date. Just remember this date, the 1st of the 1st, 1800. Any date you don't know for the ACMS system, January 1st, 1800. It's a universal date that church clerk around the world will know that the church clerk who entered this data did not know the date, because no one is alive from the 1800. And so putting that date, no one will assume you made a mistake either. 1st of the 1st, 1800. So we don't know the guy date, we put the 1st of the 1st, 1800. No, I think this is taking it year first. All right, just click ignore for now. Thanks. Birth country, it will default to Jamaica because it knows we're in Jamaica. However, a person could be born elsewhere. All the countries are populated. So once you click here, it will put it there. Place of birth. Now, St. Thomas alone, sorry, the country alone might not be enough. And so it allows for you to put in the parish, district, where the person was born as well. Mother's name, father's name, help to differentiate between multiple John Brown. Multiple John Brown, but everybody have a different mother name. So this is where that puts in. A church clerk spoke about alias, known as, and she made an excellent point, because it happened to me with a worker from our conference. He goes by the name Pablo. I went to his church. I was asking for him, but I was asking for him by his conference name, Andrew Clayton. And I was there asking and asking, and no one could tell me where this person was. When I finally got him on the phone, he said, French, me just around the corner, man. Just make somebody tell you, just make somebody point. And the person heard his voice and said, who you talk for? Pablo you asked for? Oh, name Andrew Clayton. Pablo? Yeah. All this time, nobody knew him as Andrew Clayton. His name was Pablo. And so it's good to put in those no name. Brown man, John Brown, Cutter, Cutlass. Sometimes that's all people know him as. And so when you have your professional birth certificate name, you can't, it's not helping nobody. So if somebody is known by the alias, that's what it said, known as. Put that in. Scroll up for me. Continue to scroll for me, please. Ask for your address. So when a person wants, go back down. So yeah, I heard a member spoke about verifying documents for people. As a justice of the peace, I've always been asked to sign documents for person and verify address. The challenge is sometimes I need to verify that address before I can verify the address. And it's good when we have these things documented, right? Because not everybody have a utility bill or anything. And so getting that information in the system for our members, and we can speak about it from that perspective as well, it helps you to be verified quickly who you are. So it asks for your address and the country and the city. That's very straightforward. Contact information, it's asking for your cell number, business number, and an email address. Continue scrolling. Additional information it's asking for, and these are not all required, by the way. I will tell you what is required. Huh? Sorry, I didn't know, but that sounds like an important point. Oh, I passed the image upload. Please go back for me. Yes, thank you. I didn't see it. Go back. Yes, somebody was asking that. Oh, here it is. Thank you. Image, right. So we're talking about taking the person's photo. The idea, folks, we don't want you to save the photos on your phone. No, we don't want that. We want you to take the picture and instantly upload it right there. So you take the picture, you send it to your laptop, and you upload it. How we do that? We will talk about that another time. Because, yeah, somebody may say, I don't have a good phone. But remember, we are a church family. I don't have a good phone, but my pastor may have a phone. Your pastor will have a phone. The conference ensured that all our pastors have a good phone. Let me say most of our pastors, because I know some of our recently added pastors would have missed the recent batch of phones. But the conference ensures that you can access your pastor at all times or most times. And so ensure that they have a good working instrument. And of course, the phone can drop and stop work. But I just want to let you know that you, church clerk, may not have one. Somebody else might. And incorporate young people. Everybody have a nice phone these days. I see a hand, yes.
Of course, the pastor must have access to the ACMS because he will have to approve the baptisms anyhow.
So she's saying that the pastor must have access. I see some pastor here saying, boy, I don't think I do. So we'll work on that at the conference level, but it's true. The pastor should have access. Additional information as we quickly go along. We're almost finished. I don't want to give you an information overload. Just want to let you see what it's asking for. These information are not all required. And as I said, I'll tell you what is required to add a member, which I think is 4 pieces of information. Your name. To add a member, all the system need to move on is the person's name, the person's age. And like I said, if you don't have that, you put 1800 first of the first. When they were baptized and the baptism date. That is it. Everything else is to have a proper structured database, but not necessary. And of course, a photo would be good. But to just quickly move on, first name, last name, date of birth. Ceremony, whether they're baptized and the baptism date. That's it. Those are 5 things. So all of this you're looking at, don't think, man, we're not going to find time to do all of this. You don't have to worry about that. Later you can slowly populate it. ID, the education. It's asking about education and occupation. Now, as I said earlier, Pastor Francis may want to just get an idea of what the educational status of any particular church is like. How many persons are there with master's, PhD? You may want to have a conference on whatever topic, and he wants to know how many persons are expert. Just the other day, I had a friend of mine who completed her PhD in I think it's virology. And we have had so much discussion about COVID, and here's a friend she's an expert sitting quietly, an introvert with all the experience, but nobody knew that this is her category of experience. And she sat there with information while COVID was at its worst at the time, who could have given us information, and she was working closely with the Ministry of Health, providing her church with data, but nobody else knew. So it is not to differentiate and say, oh, that's an upper class, lower class church. It's nothing like that. It's for database purpose, and anyone who deals with database or data, you will tell you, every piece of data is good. Every piece. You need that to make good decision. Occupation again. Are there, when we come to St. Thomas, there's a name that always comes to mind and it creates some havoc, and I hope I don't do that. We talk about Phillips Field. We may want to know who are the carpenters, the architects, the farmers, the plumbers. When we look at development, how do we expand our church? Who are the painters, engineers? And let us engage those persons. Because the truth is, members, we have members sitting down with this experience, but because nobody never got to them yet, them just sit down quiet. Am I lying? And so when you know, I said, but wait there, am I plumber? And the pipe out this a leak how long? Go give him a call. Yeah, man, I'll fix that, no charge. But nobody never asked. And he must say, yeah, you said to him, oh, you never fix it, nobody never asked me. It's true, nobody never asked him. So instead of you say, but nobody never asked him, he must say, nobody never asked him. Because some of us were taught never to fast and nothing of people business and all of that. So, this information is there to help us. Your marital status. Because the system will send anniversary greetings, right? Also, if Pastor Richardson knows that 50% of the female at his church is single, and Pastor Blake see that 30% of the male at his church is single, then the two of them need to work together and form a convention to bring the singles together. Not true? We can get that data if it is inputted, correct? Yeah, man. Yeah, man, set up business. We want families. We grow in the church, correct? And we want good spouses for our members. Tags. Tags now are any little extracurricular activity. So, Pastor, you may not know that Pastor Richardson play football or Pastor Richardson love to debate. And so you put debate there, right? For Pastor Richardson, you may put football, you may put cook, all of these things. Whatever little thing is good at that the system not collect, you put in tag and you separate it by a comma. There is a report that you can search. Thank you. Right, there's a report where you can search by tags and you can find all the person who can play football. So AY wants to, we're not young people, them not playing football, everybody I get big belly, I get fat, can we get more active? Let us find those who are already active to get on board and form a gym or something. I search for everybody who play football and sports and all of these things. Because it's not just doctrine. It's about our health, right? And our wellness and everything. So these are where the church clerk, this is where the church clerk would enter that. Finally, we're coming to an end. And like I said, these are information that we're good to have. We don't need them. You don't need them to go on. Member information. Just click on this. It says previous religion. See, you click on that. And previous religion, it says whether they were an Anglican, Baptist, Catholic, Jehovah's Witness, and all the major religions. Now, Pastor Richardson keep him crusade, and Pastor Wright baptized 100 persons. When the church clerk was putting in the data, she asked all 100 persons, what was your previous religion? And 70 of them said they were Jehovah's Witness. That is an important piece of data because it tells Pastor Richardson that something is happening in the Jehovah's Witness world or something special about his sermon or series of sermon that converted Jehovah's Witness. So Pastor Richardson can go investigate down the road and see if the Jehovah's Witness church burned down, or talk to pastor here and tell him to go preach at every Jehovah's Witness church door. You understand the point I'm making? Data is important. It's not just go give out tracts. We need to know how it is working and why it's working. So, good to have that piece of information. Click category for me. For category, now this is what we're talking about earlier. Elderly, homebound, attends in another SDA church, attend regularly, does not attend regularly. Remember we talked about that earlier? The catification, the word that want to come out. You all got that. Right. How we classify our members. Now, elderly homebound, who that? No, we're shutting them. Yeah, we're shutting. Elderly / homebound, because the person could be a young person who met in an accident. back injury, whatever injury, at home for more than 6 months, they're homebound. Over 6 months, they're homebound. They're waiting to get better. Had a stroke, for instance, doesn't have to be a shut-in, but they're homebound. Attends in another SDA church. That's how me dropping her. Because my membership is at Penwood, but I'm mainly at Virtual Church or at a conference or at every church. So my church clerk attends in another SDA church for me. Because they will hardly see me on a Sabbath school register. In fact, I'm not on a Sabbath school register at Penwood. Because if that is the case, I would have been absent for so much, I would definitely fall in the category of wayward. So as a result, my classification at Penwood is attends in another SDA church because they know I'm a member in good standing, but I'm not at my Sabbath school class at Penwood. Attends regularly, every church clerk gets that right off the bat. Yeah? You attend regularly, as well as most of your members. And then does not attend regularly are those members now who, well, as it says, they don't attend regularly for whatever reason. And then finally, primary conversion methods. Again, it wants to know, how did you hear about the Adventist church? Was it through ADRA? Was it through a Christmas charity, the internet? Was it through the radio? Was it through a track? We want to have track drive every Sabbath evening, every last Sabbath. And somebody said, Pastor, track? That track? Come on, man, Pastor, man, get with the technology. Track that not do anything. But the church clerk, when she baptized a 100 person, 30 of them said they heard about the message via track. It means the track's still working. And so that church clerk can say, yes, member, we're going by track because our report shows that 30 of the 100 person just added were baptized as a result of getting a track first. And so that is why we collect all this data. And when we're finished, we click save. Don't press save though, because I'm working on active. Right. And when we finish, you click save, and that is it. It collects all of that information, but as I said, as a church clerk, your primary information now is to get the first name, last name, the name, first and last, date of birth, baptism date. Click save. And the gender. Thank you, dear. The system will not allow you to go, it will not allow you to enter without entering those 4 data. The name, the gender, date of birth, baptism date. That's it. The other information will be populated, which is the church and the pastor. Everything else you can add later or same time. How do you go about getting this? Because I know that's a challenge. Now, here's what we tested at Penwood. Because the members saw us as collecting data, taking data from them, they were reluctant. Careful use of the words. We're not collecting data. Right? We're updating the records. We already have your information. We're updating your records. The truth is, person posts far more than this on their social media every day. When we post our location and photos and all of that. But when you come and say, friends, brethren, we are coming with a new system and we are collecting data. So we're updating our records and even give them the opportunity to enter it themselves. It's on a laptop. I gave it to a lady, and when the lady done, even her TR number is an NIA she put in. I'm serious. She was just typing away because she felt safe that she was inputting the data. So don't make it feel like me alone as church who can collect your data. They will become reluctant and pull away from you. So my recommendation, where it's possible, get a laptop, whether you get one for yourself as a church clerk, or your personal laptop, or there's one for the church. Allow the members to assist you in inputting their own information. The lady put in hers, her husband, her son. She said, oh, my auntie and my cousin them. And she was just there going on and on and on. By the time we got back the laptop, probably 2-3 hours later, 15 data was inputted, including photos. She takes selfie, take her picture. It was just populated. And we said, wow, this worked. It was a trial. It worked. She, however, somebody was right beside her, so she wasn't navigating, checking everybody else's information. She was just busy putting in her information or her family's information. So that's one way that might work for you, right? But please, don't make it look like, brethren, if I get a data, y'all go hell. No. This will not formulate the records in heaven. It's just for our record purposes. So that is pretty much it. That is the overview of this page. To transfer a member, you use the same system. When a person dies or a member dies, you use the same system. When you add an interest, you use the same system, but just a slightly difference. When you add in persons who are not members, you call them interest. Or when a person dies, and all of these things, all of that we can do via Zoom as more members, as we are all added rather, all our church clerks are added to the system. Are there any questions? The name of the website is ACMS.net. That is ACMSNET. ACMSnet.org. Again, that is ACMSNET, one word, ACMSnet.org. And the objective is to have everyone fully connected by the end of this week. So by Friday the latest, everyone should get their login information. One should have filled out that form online, and we'll be good to go. And then we'll have further training where we go over all of these steps. And when we do training, we do live training. So you'll be in your live account using real information. We'll always recommend that you start with your information. So you update your information first, your spouse, your children, your friends, and then we slowly take it from there. Do not start by thinking, folks, that you need to go get the big book, the big record book, and upload all the, and update all that information. My recommendation is to start with your current membership. Start with those in front of you. Start with your household, please. It can't be updating and your family not added, yeah? So just like if you're on a plane and they say in case of emergency, put on your mask first before you help somebody, and your data uploaded, your spouse, look around your immediate friend, those you're close, your 5 best friends, add them, and you go along. And then the best time I recommend to do a mass update is a communion service, yeah? Most members come back at that time. And you look around and say, well, this church has 200 members today. The record says 600. You know that you're in trouble. You need to find where those 400 are. But before you start to stress over that 400, work with the 200 that is in front of you and ensure that those are added. And little by little, we can work on the 400 that is remaining. Is that clear? That sound like a plan? Thank you so much. Second option is Sabbath school. In fact, that could be a first because your communion is once a quarter. And so you can start with your Sabbath school unit. You call the Sabbath school leader, say, how many persons in a Sabbath school? You say, I have 10 in regular and good standing. These are the 10. And if you have 5 Sabbath school, 10 each, that's 50 persons. At least those are in. Then you look at your elder board, your deacons board, your usher body. You just want to ensure, you just pick them in small portions. Group them.
So a data sheet, so to speak, that together all information. So the Sabbath school unit, the clerk could design a sheet for the Sabbath school teachers. I'm the chairman for the board. I could get a sheet where I gather all the information for my board. The elders body, and we keep going around until we capture most persons.
Let me add to that. You know what would be good, Virgin? When you're meeting, your first board meeting, you walk with your laptop and you collect everybody's information in the board meeting. That don't make sense. You just pass a laptop around and every board member add in their information. At least you start there so. And before long, you have that. And then you could say, why not pass a laptop around every Sabbath to this Sabbath school class? And the next Sabbath school class. You understand? And you have to want to know where you're going to go for 5 members because you have utilized every single resource. So you don't have to do it alone. That's what we're trying to tell you. Don't think it's you alone. Get your members on board and let them help you with it. And you'll be amazed just how quickly. Something I just All right, I won't bother. Since they close, I won't bother. Penwood inserted 104 of their members in 2 weeks. Wasn't the church board. It wasn't the church clerk alone. We have 5 church clerks, and it wasn't us. They just got laptops, and they were just passing them around. And when we say get laptop, we didn't buy. We just got borrow some laptops. I use mine personally, she used hers, and we're just passing them around. And before long, we had 104 members inserted, and of course, the church clerk was checking the data, the pastor as well, and we have 104 in 2 weeks. Our aim is to be the first church in Inter-America Division to have 100% accuracy. And it seemed impossible at first because over 1,000 members we have on the books. But we're taking our time, doing it, starting with our active members, those in front of us. And then we'll go for those who are not seen. Final. Can the system be accessed offline? Unfortunately, no, not at this time. All right, thank you. Thank you so much.
Excellent presentation. Thank you. So we'll be entering the data as we go along. Now we just, let me crave your indulgence because 1 o'clock is past. It's now 10 after 1. We have a brief presentation from Sister Budu Fletcher relative to minutes taken. And then Pastor Alonzo White would like to address the elders. And the church clerks may remain. Yes, not for long, of course. And so we crave your indulgence for just a few more moments of your time. And lunch is ready. So we will get you your lunch and you will leave. We really appreciate it. At this time, I'm going to present to you Sister Budu Fletcher, Dan Budu Fletcher, Administrative Assistant to the President. And she will be taking you through this presentation at this time. Sister Budu Fletcher.
Thank you, Pastor. We don't have much time, so I'll be quickly going through, so keep close attention. All right, the importance of records management and minutes taken. And we just learned one aspect of record keeping through the ACMS. Now, what is records management? And what records management is the practice of maintaining the records of an organization or church from the time they are created up to their eventual disposal. And what is the value of having a record-keeping system? One way that we look at it, it is like this. Anybody here can recall details from a meeting from start to finish, like there is this computer person who comes on Star Trek, a computerized person. If you say data, please bring up monologue XYZ, and he just regurgitates the information. Anyone here can do that? No, we can't. And we all have amnesia at some point in our lives. We will not remember everything. And so it is important to document and record and store information. Now, in record taking, we want you to have your filing system up to date. Because if this is done, we can have direction or control on what decisions that you're making. When you have your records filed in an area that can be accessed by the relevant persons, then you will be able to use the information to control and to make proper decisions. Record keeping is simple and easily implemented, and it is cost effective. I would advise each church, if you can, to have a filing cabinet with a key for security purpose, because there are some discussions that are had and you need to keep them in a safe area, and that can be free from destruction like fire and water. So if you can invest in a filing cabinet that will provide that kind of safety, it will be good. Record keeping also provides evidence of what the church owns and your obligations. Also, keeping records protects the church from legal situations that might occur. When you can go back to your records, You can say, this is what happened, and this is how it happened. So in case the church is being sued by, God forbid, a member or someone on the street, you can go back to your records and look at what happened or what the decisions were at the time of the meeting or of your board meeting. Record keeping is also important so that you can go back and look at your historical information. When the church started, who started it, who was the pastor, those kinds of information are important. Accurate record keeping facilitates smart operational decisions, proper financial decisions, and accurate membership count. And we said all of that earlier. Remember, I'm moving very fast. Now, there are challenges to record keeping. In many of our churches, we face the challenge of locating crucial information. Why? Because sometimes when you change the church clerk, guess what? Where's the information? At home, not properly stored. You should have a thumb drive. Please ensure that the records are kept at the church in a safe place, as said before. All right? And then when they're to make a decision, poor decisions are made because, you don't have the minutes to reflect on what the decisions were. Who is responsible for record keeping? The church clerk. That's it. Or the assistant church clerk. At the end of the day, it is the church clerk who must have the records, as I said, at one location, at the church, in an office, in a cabinet, or on a thumb drive, where it can be passed on to the next clerk. All right? From the point at which the document is created, the record and the use of the course of the church's life, it becomes the church's. From the point at which the documents are created, that is when it is owned by the church. The records that are generated at board and business meetings belong to the church and should be properly filed. Can't emphasize it anymore. It's not a glamorous job. If you're not keen on being detailed and careful, you should look at the assets that a church clerk brings to the table and implement such a person for that position who is very dedicated and willing to go the extra mile to store records, to keep minutes, etc., etc. Okay? We talk about the important reasons for record keeping because when it comes to the church clerk report, it's not just you, the local church, it has to go to the conference, from the conference to the union, to IAD, to the general conference. So it moves up the ladder, okay? And we talk about the important reasons already for accuracy, loss of memory, for, the word is not coming quickly, but in order for posterity, etc. And incomplete record keeping can cause real challenges. And we just talked about the ACMS. And we talk about being accurate. There are different types of record keeping, such as baptismal reports, church board meeting, financial reports, like the treasurer's report, the budget, departmental report, blessing of baby, shut-ins, and this one have the list of students who study away from home. So we have to be keen to these areas of record keeping. Now let me move quickly to minutes. And we talk about types of record keeping, minutes. This is where I want to get to. Because the auditors are requiring that you have your minutes accurately written. Because when you vote a decision, especially when it comes to a financial decision, the auditors want to see where the board voted this matter. All right? Because the church is not run by a one person like Mr. Smith in Montego Bay. He was a one-man band. That's not how the Seventh-day Adventist Church operates. We are accountable for everything that we do, not just on earth, but in heaven. But more so, we want each of you to be protected. And so minutes is one way of protecting the decisions that were made and to find that the church is held accountable, okay? Now, the importance of adequate, accurate minutes cannot be overstated, right? All these reasons I gave you earlier for record keeping obtain also to why our minutes should be adequately and accurately kept. It provides decision making and direction. It gives evidence of what the church owns and its obligations. Minutes have legal implications as well, because a judge can, depending on what the matter is, a judge can ask for the records of the church to be presented to court. All right? Minutes provide us with historical information. Now, what are the components of a good minutes? When you are writing your minutes, you put the name of your organization, the address, the date, the time. That's the heading of your minutes. You are going to put the members who are present, all right? Those who made up the quorum. You're going to have the minutes, if it was read, the action read, previous minutes read and accepted, whether it's voted. Then you're going to have the actions taken, the major decisions that were discussed, and what actions were taken, and when the meeting ended, and who developed the minutes. At the end of the minutes, it must be signed by the chairman and the secretary, the chairman of the board. And before the minutes is issued, the chairman must read it, and he must, give the go-ahead for it to be distributed. All right? Church board and business meeting minutes. The clerk or her assistant should be present at all duly called meetings of the church board business meetings. In recording the minutes, never use narrative approach. You don't need to say who said what. You just need to say, whereas John Brown requested $500 for financial assistance towards school fee at the University of the West Indies. Voted $500 for John Brown tuition fees assistant at the University of the West Indies. So or the matter was discussed for us to build an addition to the church hall, and recommendation was made to build an additional room to the church hall. Voted that an additional room to be built X time, and so on. So you just need to document important decision making and what was voted. And so you don't need to say the pastor said, or Brother Caswell Rodney said this, or there was a long discussion on whether or not the church sister should be disfellowship because of her skirt was short. You don't need to add those details. You just need to say what decisions were made, what were voted, and what recommendations were made for the next meeting. All right? Don't try to record. Yes, we just discussed that. Minutes, if not properly taken, can contain inaccurate, irrelevant, or inadequate information. We're not perfect. We're not all perfect people. We will make mistakes as recorders. Sometimes you don't get the information. You can ask. You can interrupt your, Mr. Chair, could you kindly clarify the matter that you were addressing on this, please, for the record? And the chair will allow you to record the information correctly. And no harm is done if when you go to the next meeting you hear that there are corrections. Nothing is wrong with that. The important thing is it is corrected. All right? So at the next meeting, they would have corrections, and you make the corrections to the meeting. All right? And if you're going to be a good recording secretary, you cannot be involved in the discussions. All right? At the conference level, the secretary is seated without voice. At the church board level, I'm not sure if it is the same, elder, pastor. Okay, without voice. So you can't be talking and recording. Your job is to listen and to ensure you capture the information accurately. All right? So remember to record the names of attendees as they enter, record action items and decisions as they happen. And if you don't understand exactly, you ask for clarification. That is what that is saying. Write in your minutes, review your notes, and add additional comments or clarify what you did not get right. I mentioned that earlier. Write in your minutes, focus on action items. We discussed that already. Be objective. Do not write who said what and who disagree with the motion. All right? Once the action is taken, it is a corporate decision. So you don't need to say it was voted by 10 people, or you don't need to say it was voted by Tom, Dick, Harry, and Jane. Once it is voted by the corporate body. Once it's the majority vote. If the majority voted against it, it was voted against. That's it. You don't need to say who. All right?
It must be remembered that this is a business document, not a personal document. So avoid inflammatory or personal observations. Just be objective. And don't use adjectives like he was sad, he was angry, he was upset. Minute taking is a dull writing process. No pretty up, nothing. Just write it as it is. And when you're finished writing your minutes, have it reviewed by the chairman, as I said before, and record proper minutes ensures that the decision and actions resulting from the meeting aren't lost or forgotten. And the chairman will approve, the secretary will sign. So both of you will sign it, all right? One last thing, every minute must have an action sheet. When, after you have written the minutes, you are supposed to list the items that are supposed to be done. So if you said that it was voted that John Brown was supposed to get 100,000, you number one, John Brown, the treasurer is to remit $100,000 to John Brown. Number two, the church back door is supposed to fix by the deacon. Two, the back door of the church is to be fixed by the deacon. So you have an action list, and that will help the chairman to follow up on what needs to be done and it will hasten the accomplishments of things when they're voted by the board. So things are not lagged and people forget, and it's not at the next meeting you're remembering that this was supposed to be done. All right? So the action list is supposed to be disseminated after the chairman reviews it, so that those who are involved can see. Here I have an example of minutes, and see, members present, meeting called to order, and the time is there. This is not an actual meeting, brethren. You might say the real name, but it's not real. All right, so we said new business, financial request. Number one, it's important to number your minutes. Why? So that when you're making reference, you can say item 1.1, it was said that so and so. So numbering the page, numbering the minutes is important. All right? You know about storing your minutes, thumb drive or in filing cabinet. Those are the only two, thumb drive or in cloud, or if you have cloud, you know how to store them in that manner. All right? Now, conclusion. The organization's assets properly stored and protected should be protected and stored from authorized persons. And retrieval system must be efficient. Records created belongs to the church's memory. Now remember, if it hasn't been written down, captured, and stored and retrievable, then it hasn't happened. All right? Whatever you have written down, make sure the right persons are able to access it, retrieve it, and be able to store it. So God does not judge us by the multitude of works we perform, but how well we do the work that is ours to do. That was said by Dale Turner. So may those who come behind us find us faithful. Thank you. There's one question. Yes, sir? Who is responsible for inventory? The auditor? Okay. The auditor. All right. The church auditor. Yes, Brother Caswell. Yes, sir.
Quickly, at the end of a meeting.
Yes, sir.
Is it adjourn or conclude?
Okay. It was explained to me that adjournment means that the meeting will continue. If the meeting has not finished, for example, you may take a vote, time is gone. The chairman said the meeting was supposed to be 2 hours and you're going into 3. The chairman can ask for the meeting to be adjourned until he may say tomorrow, or he said, I will give you another time when the meeting will be called. So the meeting will continue. However, if the agenda is completed, there is nothing more to be discussed, the meeting is terminated. I think at the one I had adjourned or terminated. So at the end of your minutes, you say if there is no more discussion All the agenda items were covered. The meeting was terminated at, please put the time, 6 p.m., and who offered prayer to close. Any other question?
For the duration of the minutes, of the meeting.
Yeah, that's what I said. If the meeting is not, if the time has passed, the chairman may request that the meeting be adjourned, meaning that it will be continued, and he will give you a date or time when it will continue. So that agenda, sir, will continue another day. So you'd say the meeting was adjourned. Yes. That's a chairman's call, sir. That's a chairman's call. The chairman will decide on that. Yes, Mr.
It's not a question.
Yes, Pastor.
But thank you for your presentation, enlightening one. But some of my church clerks is asking, would you make the presentation available?
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Yes.
You mentioned about after the minutes is signed
by the chairman, who is a pastor.
Right, it is
circulated. And the church clerk.
Circulated. It is circulated to the members. Did you say that?
It is circulated to the board members.
To the board members,
yes.
right. How is it circulated?
You decide. You can decide to circulate it electronically or hard. Print it and give it to the members. Or some churches may have greater challenge. They just project it from their screen.
I say that to say this. If it is circulated electronically, like persons would get it on their phone or wherever.
Okay. I'm going to ask the secretary to answer that one.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, security.
Okay.
Confidentiality is one of the things we have to remind our board members about. We all do it. We send minutes to, once you belong to a board or a leadership core, you're going to get the minutes. And we're not in the business of hiding minutes from board members. We have to be responsible enough to protect this information when it is in our possession. That's what I say, and that's what we encourage, okay? Yes, Elder, please.
Board members that present, can a member of the board circulate the information to the absent board member?
Yes, the minutes should go to all members, whether he is present or not, but the minutes should be circulated through the proper channel, right? As to whether the absent member can do certain things relative to the minutes, that's a different question. Church clerk.
Okay, Pastor.
Yes. Thank you so much. And thanks to Sister Diane. Beautiful presentation as usual. Put your hands together. Veteran. Sorry we won't have you today, Sister Barnett, but the man himself, Dr. Alonzo. You're laughing at me. But ladies and gentlemen, help us welcome our ministerial secretary and really appreciate your patience as we seek to meet with you today. God bless you.
My question is if your presentation is terminated or adjourned. All right, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. And we apologize for the late time we are going to conclude to let you off. But I promise my presentation will be in a jiffy. 15 minutes the most. All right? Can you bear with me? All right. Pastor, this is your laptop. All right. So the idea was to have the elders by themselves. But the information that I'm going to share with you, it's nothing that is to be kept away from the general membership. So I'm going to be addressing the elders, but all of you can be participants. So we have it on the screen, Elder Pastor Castell. We're working on it. All right. In the meantime, the ministerial department of East Jamaica Conference wants all elders to be on board with all that we seek to do. And anything that affects the members of the church, the elder is the person next in command to ensure that all the members of the church receive information and are addressed with matters concerning church and its operation. So we have the pastor, who is the under shepherd, and we have the elder, who is the pastor's assistant. And through the pastor, through the elders, the church is informed and guided with the entire operation of the church. So this morning we are looking at mission first. I will go and we will relate to some very important matters as it relates to mission. And I want to recognize our administrative assistant to the ministerial department, Sister Sophia Dharma. I'm going to ask her to distribute some hard copies. Whatever is going to be on the screen is what you are getting in hard copy. So I'm going to be moving quickly, but you can always use the hard copy as term of reference. All right, so the hard copies are being distributed as I speak, and you will receive the information that is projected on the screen in hard copy. So here we go. We have prayed already, so I move right into it. So the mission of the Seventh-day Adventist Church is to make disciples of all people, men, women, boys, girls, everywhere, right? Matthew 28, 18 to 20. We have one mission, and that is to preach the gospel. That's the mission of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, to preach the gospel. So as a church, we are either going to preach or die. Where did I get that concept from? Some time ago, I saw a T-shirt around my home, and I actually liked the T-shirt, and I put it on. And you know what was written on it? Even before I read it, I just liked the T-shirt and put it on. When I looked at it, it says, dance or die. Well, we are either going to preach or die. And my professor at West Indies College then, now Northern Caribbean University, Dr. Vaz. Any of you know Dr. K.G. Vaz or heard about him? So he said, you either evangelize or fossilize. Say it right for me, Pastor. Fossilize. All right. Sometimes I get tongue twisted all about. So you either evangelize or fossilize. All right. It's the same as die. Evangelize or die. Preach or die. All right. Evangelize or fossilize. So we go forth with preaching the gospel. Time of crisis is the best time to evangelize. Time of crisis, the best time to evangelize. And I said that because, hey, listen, in the late 70s to the 1980 general election in Jamaica, a number of persons heard that communism was coming to Jamaica. Some of you never born yet, so I can talk. What do you know? She said, of course, she was born. So, a number of wealthy men sold out their houses and property and took the plane literally, because Michael Manley said, listen, there are 7 flights that go to Miami. And those of you who don't want to stay, you can leave. All right? Well, some people really took it literal and sold out their properties. And you know, those who stayed, they really invested in purchasing these properties. Today they are smiling, you know? So some little men who were just struggling were able to purchase properties through these building societies and so on. And today they are living well because there was a crisis in Jamaica. Now the same thing happens with evangelism. When we have COVID-19, it's the best time to evangelize. We couldn't pitch the tents, but we had evangelists who went on the internet and they preach. Even one of your evangelists from Morant Bay here, Evangelist Powell, was one of those preachers. And look what God has done. Look how many persons were baptized through that method. And the story is unending, because we don't know how many other persons, apart from those who we have baptized, have been converted and are now being baptized as a result of the time of crisis that we were faced with. So, time of crisis is the best time to evangelize. The gospel has the ability not just to satisfy men's thirst, but also to create hunger. Blessed are they that hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Men and women are being hungered and thirst after righteousness every day, and we have to preach. Now, the preaching is not just for the evangelists and the pastors. The preaching is for every member, the church clerk. And that's why I like the mantra that we embrace, mission first. The president is saying, in every department, you must see at the bottom, at the conclusion, that your department has an eye for mission, and at the end of the day, souls are being saved. Amen? So it's mission first. And as we think about it, we are going to maximize our opportunities. We are going to take what we get and make it better. So all the information that you have gleaned today, you are going to make it better. You are going to use it to your advantage to make your church a better place, because you were here today for the motivation, for the instruction, for the guidance, how you can lift the standard of your department and act in a professional way to make your church a better place. Now, take the people you serve from where they are to where they need to be. So, the record keeping, the other clerk that are with you, you are going to help that clerk to manage the church record, right? So the ACMS won't go in vain, all right? Adventist church management system that you were motivated and instructed in today won't go in vain, because you are going to use it to make your church a better place. All right? So, keep your eyes on the ball of opportunity. Every opportunity we get to evangelize, we are to make use of it. Whether through some tracts, whether through some personal involvement to help somebody, and they ask you, well, why did you spare all this time to help me? Huh? You could be busy. And that is an eye-opener. That is an entering wedge for you to say, you know, I'm a member of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and I believe in helping people. That is part of our message. And I'd like to invite you to church. That's an eye-opener. That's an entering wedge, right? Use every opportunity to make mission have its full success. All right. Now, where do you want to take your members? The members of your congregation, elders, where do you want to take your members? As we talk about mission first, you have to have a plan of action. You have to know what is the pastor's plan of action. Know the expectation of your leaders. The pastor has a district plan. Find out what it's all about and see where you fit in. The pastor is the chief under shepherd. You elders are his footmen on the ground. You are to ensure that what he seeks to carry out in the church are carried out on the day-to-day basis, because you are with the people all the time. That's the elder's responsibility. He is an assistant to the pastor, and so he must keep his eye on the ball. Call to fulfill a vision. Be watchful. Every opportunity, make use of it. Endure the toils and trials of your God-given responsibility. It is not easy. To be an elder these days is not easy. And worse, to be a pastor. Because these are not the days when, like in times past, the pastor could say, this is where we are going, and this is where we are going. You are going to have members who are going to rise up and say, but no, pastor, you need to listen to us. Of course, the pastor need to listen to the members. So the pastor now have to spend an extra time to explain or to take the thing from a different angle and to help the members to get where he wants to take them. And the same approach the elder should take, because he's the pastor's assistant. So therefore, we are looking forward for the 29th of October to be an elders' baptismal day. Amen? So the elders are going to go out there, and they have started already. And if you have not started, this is your time. This is your moment in time to reach out and to seek to work with even one person. And you personally, elder, is going to do the baptism. Isn't that great? Yes. Seize the moment in time and make it happen. But remember now, pastors, you are to submit all the names of these elders who are going to participate in the October 29 baptism. All right, that's the last Sabbath in October, and we want the elders to make use of this opportunity. Aim high, and you will reach the goal. Set a goal for your church, right? We advise, and this is it now. The pastor has a goal for the district, but the pastor can meet with the elders and say, elders, I have a goal for the district. I have a goal of 100. How much do you think your church can achieve from the goal that is set? You are the first elder. How much you think we can achieve in this particular church, in the Morant Bay Church or the Willowfield Church? And the elder will tell the pastor, and they say, elder, this is your goal. You set the goal. I am here to assist you, but you are to work with the church, the membership, and the members, and ensure that you can achieve this goal. What is your plan? What's your strategy? What's your methodology? I'm going to divide up the church in different groups, pastor, small groups, and that's how we are going to work it. Or I'm going to set up a date for a tent crusade. I will be the preacher, and the members are going to go with me street and lane and help in the visitation and so on. All right? So that's what we're talking about. Aim high, set a goal for your church, and go for it. And keep your eye on the ball. Don't be like the situation, the story of the clown and the queen. Watch this now. The queen is dead. Have mercy. The queen is dead. For 70 years she reigned. We never had a king in Bible time who reigned for 70 years. No. This is the longest reigning queen till we almost forget about king. Hello? But the queen is dead. And the king is now crowned. But this story is about the queen. You see why I'm telling the story about the queen? Because she reigned so long. So the story is about the queen. That she usually inspect the guards when the guards are being changed. So as soon as one guard is off shift, she would inspect the new guard that are on shift. All right? So while she was coming to inspect the guards, you know, the Buckingham Palace is a place where you and I can visit, and we can pay our money and visit and have a tour of the place, right? And people paid their money, but they could only go to a point, all right? So they reached a point where they could observe when the queen comes out, and she would inspect the guards. But there was one time when, while the queen was making her way to that area where she would inspect the guards, a clown just showed up, and everybody took their eyes off the matter of observing the queen inspecting the guards and just watching all the antics that the clown was doing. And they kept their eyes on the clown for such a long time the queen came, inspected the guard, and left. And the people were still there. When the clown finished, and they were still there waiting for the queen to inspect the guard, they heard that the queen came, inspected the guard, and they were left not seeing the queen. Keep your eyes on the ball. Keep your eyes on the queen, not on the clown. All right? So in this evangelistic series, as we talk about mission first, don't allow anything to distract you from mission. Use every opportunity. Use every opportunity. We are saying here, focus on the queen. Engage in at least one evangelistic project each year. Elders, at least one evangelistic project. Whether it is small group, whether it is weekend, round robin, evangelistic program. You know, some churches, they have a month of weekend evangelism. Friday night, Sabbath, and Sunday. Or sometimes they have 2 sermons on Sabbath and Sunday night. You can involve yourselves in programs like these, but have some program or a Bible study group or whatever it is. You use your creativity and engage in one evangelistic project per year. All right? Equip yourself. Have a good Bible. A Bible with concordance. Yes, every elder should have a good study Bible. Because you can go to church, you know. Hello. You can go to church and you realize the pastor didn't turn up. The elder should be prepared to study, to preach the word. Or even to give a Bible study. This Bible that I have here, you see how tattered it is? This is my evangelistic Bible. You know why? It has the hymnal in it. Hello? It has the Mark Finley Bible study in it. Right? Okay? And I use this Bible sometimes if I'm called upon suddenly to preach. I can go to one of those Bible study. I can rearrange it and use it as a sermon in no time. In no time. It's right here. So that's what I'm saying. Get a good study Bible. Get a Bible with concordance. And be equipped, be prepared, thank you, to preach the word. In season, out of season. That's what the Apostle Paul instructed Timothy to do. Rebuke and rebuke and endeavor to guide the church and keep it on the upward trend. And finally, work closely with the pastor and assist him to put the members to work. The greatest work, Ellen White says, a pastor can do is to organize his church for mission and putting the members to work. She also cited a situation in which she said that a man was put as a manager over 5 men or 10 men. It's in the book, Christian Service. Not quite remembering the number. But over a group of men. And when the manager came back, he saw the supervisor doing the work of 10 men, yes. The work of 10 men. And the 10 men were there idling. You know what the supervisor did? What the manager did? Fired the supervisor. And sent home the 10 men. And the supervisor asked, what did he do wrong? He was working, but the men that he was put in charge of to supervise to do the work, they were not doing it. So the manager said, I fired you because I paid you to oversee 10 men. And I came back to find you doing the work of 10 men while the men were idling. The mission of the church is one. I will go mission first, and every member should be involved. And it is the duty of the pastor to organize the church, and the elders should assist him in supervising the members to ensure that every member participates. All right? Remember, at the end of the day, call the church to give attention to the principles of stewardship, because each of us is accountable to God. Every member is accountable to the elder and to the church pastor, the work that is put before them. And at the end of the day, we are all accountable to God as stewards. Finally, it is required of a steward, a man, to be found faithful. 1 Corinthians 4 and verse 2. I rest my case. I trust that you have been evangelized this morning, motivated, challenged, and inspired to go forth and make your church a better place. Light a candle and make your church a better place. God bless you. All right. Has everyone received a copy of the presentation, hard copy? If not, you may see my able administrative assistant, and we can make that available to you, either in soft copy or hard copy later on. But we're going to close off now. Lady Di, let me invite you to stand. We're going to close off, and we are going to invite Pastor Romaine Richardson to close us off with prayer and to offer prayer for the meal. Pastor Richardson, over to you. We have seen you busy from morning, but I don't think we heard from you. It's your turn.
Shall we pray as we come to a close? Gracious Father, we thank you for being a good God to us from morning until now. Lord, we thank you for the information shared with us. Now as we digest them, may help us to execute them in our various churches. And may at the end of it all, your church will grow stronger and the kingdom of darkness will be destroyed. May you also bless the meal as we partake of it too. In Jesus' name, amen.
God bless you. This meeting is terminated.
All right, be seated just for 2 seconds. Just before you fully terminate the meeting, may I take the opportunity on behalf of the entire zone to say thanks to the conference for coming out here from yesterday to now. In particular, I want to say thanks to our Executive Secretary, Pastor Melvin Francis, for taking his team of workers to be here with us to educate us. And I'm sure we are edified. Am I not correct? So I want to say thank you. I also want to say thanks to our president for being here from yesterday fully on board. I want to say thanks to our president, Dr. Merrick Walker. And most of all as well, we want to say thanks to my supervisor, my pastor, Pastor Dr. White, for leading out and for sharing information to the elders and of the zone. Thank you, Pastor White. Thank you, members right across the zone, for your sacrifices that you have made to be here on such a powerful day, Sunday, which I know you don't want to spend with your family and do some work to be ready for tomorrow. But we thank you for the sacrifice you have made for God's church. Team East Jamaica Conference, thank you all for coming. May God bless you. Have yourself a spirit-filled rest of the Sunday and enjoy what we have provided for you. Meal has been provided at the kitchen section. For those who don't know where the kitchen is located, I'm just about to tell you right now. It's at the back of the church. Please do so. For those who wish not to partake, that's fine. I will have some for you. And for those who are leaving, I'm asking you that you go. Please take the empty bottles and also place them in the garbage bag is right there. Again, thank you. Again, have yourself a blessed rest of the day.